Alaikum. Salam alaikum. Miss Fatma is speaking. I hope you are in good health. Today, inshallah, we will discuss a new language learning method, which is about natural approach. Here, the outlines that we'll discuss, in this lecture, inshallah, background, purpose, principles, of natural approach, theory of language, theory of learning, the natural approach, learning and teaching, design, procedures, of this approach. Yes, here, the background of natural approach. Yeah. This approach developed by Stephen Krashen and Tracy Terrell, yeah, yes, in 1983, as views on second language acquisition and a section on implementation and classroom procedures. Yeah, here, Mr. Krashen is a famous linguist. He is currently professor at University of Southern California. Mrs. Terrell is an educational theorist and a professor at University of California. Yes, yes. Natural approach believes that adults can still acquire second languages. The ability of language acquisition doesn't disappear as we grow up. Yes. Also, adults acquire language by following the principles of universal grammar. Yes, here, if I ask you, what is the difference between adult and children acquisition, skill? Yeah, what is the difference between adult and children acquisition skill? Yes, yes. The difference between adult and children acquisition skill is that adults have two things to follow when they learn foreign language, yeah, which are acquisition and learning. Yes. But the children only acquire the language. Yes. Here, if I ask you, what is the difference between acquisition and learning? Yes. What is the difference between acquisition and learning? Yes. Here, acquisition is an unconscious process to language proficiency through meaningful communication. But learning, yeah, is conscious process in which language rules are developed through formal teaching and correction of errors. Yes, this is the main difference between acquisition and learning. Yes. Yes. Here, yes. In the book, Mr. Krashen and Mrs. Terrell consider their approach, which is natural approach, as a traditional method. Yes. Here, they consider natural approach as a traditional approach based on the use of languages in communicative situations without recourse to the native language. Therefore, with no reference to grammar analysis, grammatical drilling, or to a particular theory of grammar. Yes. So, such approach has been called natural. Yes. Yes, here, okay. So the natural approach emphasizes on the central role of comprehension and exposure. Exposure, which means input, rather than practice. Yes. Okay. What is the purpose of natural approach? What is, okay, the purpose of the natural approach? Yes. Here, okay, the aim of the natural approach is to develop communicative skills, and it is primarily intended to be used with beginning learners. Okay, also, it is presented as a set of principles that can apply to a wide range of learners and teaching situations, and concrete objectives depend and focus on the specific context in which it is used. Yes, so the main goal of the natural approach is to help learners in learning the foreign language naturally. Yes, and the learner will be able to pick up the grammar by themselves when they are ready. Yes. Here, okay, what are the basic principles of natural approach? Yes. Here, what are the basic principles of natural approach? Yes. Here, okay, uh, the basic principle of this approach, according to Christian and Terrell, they see communication as the primary function of the language. Thus, this approach depends on teaching communicative abilities. Yes. Also, this approach is based on the use of language. So here, okay, speech production comes slowly and is never forced. Yes, yes. Why? Because this approach is based on the use of language in communicative situations without recourse to native language and without reference to grammatical analysis or drill or any particular grammar theory. Yes, so language is viewed as a vehicle for communicating meanings and messages. Yes, here what is the theory of language according to the natural approach? What is the theory of language according to the natural approach? Yes, here. Yes. Here, okay, natural approach. Okay, okay. Christian and Terrell see communication as the primary. Yes. Here, okay. Christian and Terrell see communication as the primary function of language. Also, they refer to the natural approach as an example of communicative approach. Yes, yes. Here, okay, they reject earlier methods of language teaching. Okay, Christian and Terrell describe the emphasis on the primacy of meaning. Yes, here, okay, focuses on primacy of meaning. Here, okay, also language is viewed as a vehicle for okay um, for communicating meanings and messages. Yes. Um, Yes. So here, okay, and natural approach focuses on exposure or input rather than practice. This approach, okay, depends on using of language in communicative situations without recourse to the native language. Yes, here, okay. Also, this okay approach is focusing okay on teaching without reference to grammatical analysis. Yes, so the natural approach is a communicative approach. Yes, and they were against earlier methods that had focused on grammar. Why? Yes. Why? Uh, why this approach here, okay, okay, why, okay, where the natural approach against earlier methods that had focused on grammar? Yes, because they were built not around actual theories of language acquisition, but on theories of something else, such as the structure of language. Yes. Yes, and okay, and the natural approach is considered as one of the comprehension-based approaches. Yes, here, okay, um, what are the five hypotheses of theory of learning according to the natural approach? Yes, what are the five hypotheses okay okay of theory of learning according to the natural approach? Yes, here we have the acquisition learning hypothesis, the Minitor hypothesis, the natural order hypothesis, the input hypothesis, and the affective filter hypothesis. Yes, here, okay, the first hypothesis, okay, here, the acquisition learning hypothesis. Okay, the acquisition learning hypothesis is the most basic steps of all in the Christian's theory. Okay, also, it's the most well known among linguists and language practitioners. Yeah, okay, in this hypothesis, the learner has two ways of learning the second language, which are the acquired system and the learned system. Here, okay, if I ask you, what is the difference between acquired system and the learned system? Here, yes, yes. Okay, acquired system, okay, okay, focuses on the product of a subconscious process, but the learned system focuses on the product of formal instruction conscious process. Yeah, yes. Additionally, okay, this approach states that there are two distinctive ways of developing competence in a second language. Here, okay, which are acquisition and learning. Yes, okay, here, okay, uh, the main difference between acquisition and learning is that acquisition is the natural way as a children's language development unconscious. Okay, but learning refers to a process in which conscious rules about language are developed. Yes. Therefore, learning can't lead to acquisition, okay? And acquiring language is successful and longer lasting than learning. Yes. The second, hypothesis, of this, theories is the Minitor hypothesis. The Minitor hypothesis, sorry. Yes. Here, when the learner can check and correct language output. Yes. Here, in this hypothesis, learning and acquisition, play different roles. Acquisition allows us to actually speak the language. Yes, so the Minitor comes from learning the language and is like a mental editor, checking our rules in terms of accuracy. Yes, this means that this hypothesis claims that we may call upon learned knowledge to correct ourselves while communicating. This function only applies when conscious learning is happening. Yes. So here, we have three conditions which limit the successful use of the Minitor. Yes, here, time, focus on form, and knowledge of rules. Here, time. Yes, okay. This means that there must be sufficient time for a learner to choose and apply a learned rule. Focus on form, yes, means that the language user must be focused on correctness or on the form of the output. And knowledge of rules, this means that the performer must know the rules. Also, the Minitor doesn't. The Minitor does best with rules that are simple in two ways. They must be simple to describe, and they must. They mustn't require complex movements and rearrangements. Yes, another hypothesis here. We have natural order. Yes. Here, when people, or when learners acquire language by using grammatical structures in a predictable order. Yes. According to this hypothesis, the acquisition of grammatical structures proceeds in a predictable, order. Certain grammatical rules and forms of the language are acquired before others. In first language acquisition, something similar happens when learning a second language. Yes. The input hypothesis. The input hypothesis. Yes. This hypothesis, claims to explain the relationship between what the learner is exposed to, is exposed to of a language, which means the input, and language acquisition. Yes. Yes. The input hypothesis relates to acquisition and not to learning. Okay. So students acquire language best by understanding input, and the ability to speak fluently emerged independently in time.